down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Oh, yes, you turned into the Savvy Radio Show. I got my co-host, internationally famed and fortunate Pat Pointon. Pat, I meant to tell you this earlier, that I'm trying to get together, do a Friday, in February, some sort of an intimate retreat. I did it last year, called the Full Throttle Investor Retreat. Have you ever been on a cruise before?
Yeah, I was on an investor cruise one time.
Okay, well we're putting one of those together.
This one we went on was out of Houston, but several of people from Oklahoma went.
Get on the microphone, Daddy.
Several people from Oklahoma went.
Yeah, you got a little comfortable there. You got a little.
Yeah,
I got to get a retainer
back there, didn't I? Yeah.
I got to get your recliner in here. At your age,
hey, I'm used to having a little more.
You got a little sassy earlier. Someone usually touches my mic for me.
That's right. I'm not used to having to tend my own
I don't
mic.
even offer you.
I was a star. I'm no longer a star. I'm long forgotten
You're
now.
a star in my heart.
Yeah.
Radio magic, baby. I try to get you. No, I don't want no water. I'm like, can I get you anything? No, I just want my cane back.
Yeah, my cane back. Got my cane.
I noticed that you snatched that cane real fast.
This is my cane I use for work. It's a heavy duty one, and it's designed so if I get it dirty or muddy or whatever, I don't care.
All right.
I got some dressy ones, but this was not one of them.
Yeah, I saw your dressy one at the party.
Yeah, that's
All
one.
right.
I got a couple.
Well, sometime February, second week of February, I'm putting together a Full Throttle retreat, and I don't know what we're going to do. It was super successful last year, and we're getting down to 6 months of planning, so I would love for you to be involved.
I went on the cruise once before, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was great. And it wasn't too long. It was only like
5 days.
5 days, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, making it real cheap, not trying to make people pay an arm and a leg so they can meet the royal Pat Point.
Well, I wouldn't think that would be the reason they would go on the cruise.
No.
By any means.
I thought it was me, the savvy somebody.
It always was you.
Yeah,
Stephen, it's all about you. Everything we do is about you, Stephen, indirectly.
Hey, I think the greatest words of endearment are, "Hey, savvy." I got people. We got to come up with a name for you. But I realized
maybe.
I thought it was all about me. Well, I did it down in Florida. And the interesting thing was it was more organic, and a lot of people were helping each other. Mm-hmm. I had all this material. I was planning and going, and I'm like, dude, they're going to leave this was the cheapest and best retreat in the world. And it boiled all the way down to the end where one investor in the room was struggling in their business. And it was just remarkable that we just, I don't know if it's the Holy Spirit or just the vibe, but we all just started helping this guy. What are you struggling with? Why? And then this is what we would do. This is what I would do. He had software problems. He had management problems, communication problems, phone problems. And that's what I'm going to do for this year, 2018. I'm going to how can we solve problems for each other?
Let me make you a suggestion.
Oh, God.
When you do this cruise, maybe you might want to contact like the RIA in Tulsa
mm-hmm.
and maybe one in Dallas, because if you brought people in from another place, I'm talking about people, offer them the opportunity to join the cruise, you get a lot of broader experience. Now, it's not so intimate, but you do get a lot broader experience levels.
Well, the goal, a lot of people put cruises on to make money. I get it, right?
I'm not thinking of that. I'm just thinking of
no, but I'm talking about
the ideas.
The one thing that I had last time was 12 intimate guys. We got together and just try to help each other. Okay. I'm just thinking
that's a good thing.
This time I might open it up to couples and open up to the general public. No one, everyone all talks, but no one bought the ticket. 12 studs bought the ticket, and it was an intimate, great time. And those guys are texting me, and they're like, "Hey, are we doing it again?" And I don't know. What we're doing. But, man, that was a long conversation there. 4 minutes intro. Anyway, today's subject, folks, is wholesaling in general. Mm-hmm. You've gotten an email just recently. It says property, fraction of the cost, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Pat, hey, I want to talk about wholesaling. Pat's like, yep, I've been on both sides of the fence.
I have, yeah.
So what's your take on, well, first of all, let's explain what wholesaling is. I'll do the explaining, and then let's take two roles here. You want to be a wholesaler, or you want to be an end buyer?
I'd rather be the wholesaler.
Okay, you're the wholesaler. Okay, so then we're going to do some role playing. So a wholesaler is their job, for my my business dealing, and I have wholesaled several properties in my lifetime, but is to buy a property at a discount, a deep discount. So let's just keep it simple. $100,000 house. Hey, 50,000, 50 cents on the dollar, no more than 60, maybe 65, because you have to leave money on the table for the investor. The investor takes all the risk.
That's right.
And so
does all the work.
And listen, there's nothing wrong. You know, I was coaching a kid about 10 years ago, and I bought a house. It was a $45,000 house. And you coach this guy. This is from Erp. And he got a house under contract for $9,000. And Erp called me up one day. He's like, hey, I got this house, 15 G's. Do you want it? Yes or no? I loved his technique back then. He called 5 people, yes or no. Yes, I want it. And I ran over there, bought it. I had that horse today. It's been still dominating. It's probably worth $65,000. That's got to be over 10 years ago. When I was coaching a kid about 10 years ago, he was like, man, that dude ripped you off. He made $6,000. No, he didn't. He's a lot smarter than me because he got the deal. But I still bought the property. It's at that time was worth $45,000. Today it's worth $65,000. How is he ripping me off? I think there's the confusion between wholesalers. Wholesalers have a job. They market, they get a property under, they negotiate, they get a property under contract, and they flip that contract to the end buyer.
One way they get a bad rap is because realtors as a group don't think they ought to exist because they think everything ought to go through some realtor.
Sure, well.
So obviously they don't like them. Banks don't like them very well either because they think somehow or another somebody might criticize them for being involved.
Yeah.
They think it's too much money, too easy. It's not that easy. You first have to get out and beat the bushes enough to find something to wholesale. It's not as easy as it looks.
You know, it's so funny. I talk to real wholesalers around the country, and I think I love wholesaling. I wish I was a better wholesaler. But, you know, there's so many times where this wholesaler has been in court, like, that it was illegal. Like, wholesaling is illegal. It is not illegal.
No, but now many of the lenders, Fannie Mae and people, did not like it, but they've kind of gotten better about it.
Yeah, and they have a lot of contingencies in their loan. You have to season it for 30 days. You can't change title. They put all these They
try to keep you out.
Yeah, but there's still ways around it. Even in a deal that a pretty large deal that I'm negotiating right now, the guy put in the contract and is, you know, a signable contract. I was like, well, I put in my contract in my counter. If you're going to assign this, it needs to be my approval. You know, I'm down because I assign contracts to different entities. So I understand what assignable is and what it's for. And let's cover that for the rookie individual that's listening to this. An assignable contract, or what is assignable? That means if the contract, I lock up the house in my LLC, I put Jimmy Jack LLC and assigns. And what that does, that gives me the ability or the power, because you're controlling the paper, to assign it to someone else. So then I'm selling it to Pat Who's Cool LLC. I don't have to get anyone's approval because I put the word and assigns, and that trumps that. And my fine, beautiful closing gal, she'll just put it in that LLC for me.
That's right.
And I can do that for a fee.
You can.
And it's called an assignable fee, an assignment fee. All right. So let's role play. Any comments on the wholesaling?
Well, you know, it's been misrepresented, I think, by some of the people who sell courses. And one reason was they knew you didn't have enough credit to go out and get loans and rehab. So they said, well, give us your $10,000. We'll show you how to be a great wholesaler. You make all this money. Now, what they were really doing, some of those guys, was getting your $10,000 or $8,000 or whatever, and they didn't give a dang whether you wholesaled and succeeded or you failed or whatever, because, you know, it's a little harder than it first sounds. They make it sound like anybody could do it. True. And that there's just millions of dollars laying everywhere for you to pick up. Now, I'm not trying to say it's not a good thing, but if it were all that good, neither Stephen and I would be on the podcast today. We'd be out wholesaling 24/7.
Right, exactly. You know, that's so well said. You know, another thing that, you know, wholesaling has a bad rep because there's no entry of barrier of entry. Anyone could be a wholesaler. There's no degree. I mean, a bandit sign or not even a sign on the window. I buy houses that you wrote with your little marker. You become a wholesaler.
You can be, but you still got to find good deals, and that may or may not be something you can do.
And you know, another friend posted on Facebook, blasting a wholesaler. I thought that was very interesting. I know you're not on Facebook, and maybe off the radio we can cover it. But, I mean, what that investor said was true. Like, these wholesaler, it's like a national wholesaler or a virtual wholesaler. You know, and the house is worth $50. They're trying to sell it for $40, but it needs $20,000 worth of repair. I think that's where it does the word wholesaling a disservice. Wholesaling is something at a discount so you could resell it. Hey, cigarette wholesaler, plumbing wholesaler.
What they were doing was burning the end user if the end user was unsophisticated enough to buy the property.
Yeah.
Now, if you burn your wholesalers, you're soon going to not have any following of as a wholesaler. If you burn your people, you're taking your future sales away from yourself.
Yeah, and you know, what the market is so hot right now, it's just interesting to see how just there's so many wholesalers and they're just locking up contracts just to get the sellers to say yes. I'm working with a guy right now. We have about 5 houses under contract, and they're all off by $20,000 because this individual is not from this market. And they're just locking it up. Didn't even know the county assessor page was even in existence. They were going to Zillow, and Zillow says the house is worth $65, so let's offer $40, and the house is really only worth $40. It's $20,000. Zillow's $20,000 off in some neighborhoods, and I mean it's very very rare that Zillow is the rule of all things financial value of a property.
Any of those computerized systems are subject to being off. You need to individually look at every property and make your own determinations.
All right, so let's do some role playing. You are a wholesaler. How do you talk to me? And then I need to talk to you. So present a deal to me, and how does it work?
Well, Stephen, the reason I called you today is I like to touch base with you kind of on a weekly or every bi-weekly basis because I'm always bringing up new deals, and I know that you look at a lot of deals. And for instance, the deal I have today is a house in Edmond. It's over off of 2nd Street North there on Fritz or whatever. I can't think.
Okay.
And it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath brick house, 2-car garage. It probably have a after repaired value of $120.
Okay.
And I think it's going to have $16,000 to $20,000 worth of repair cost. I can buy it for, I can sell it to you. You can get in it for 80, 81.
So
would that be something to fit into your needs?
So you got it. So you're selling it to me for 81, and I got to still put 16 in it, right?
You're in it for 91, 96, 97, 98.
Okay. So what's my ARV on that?
Well, you got about $23,000. My thinking is it'll make you a 15% return, maybe a 20% return after you pay, depending on what you pay in the way of realtor fees and whatever.
All right.
That's kind of a minimum.
No, I mean, this is awesome because I can beat you up on this. But, as an investor, this is how you talk back to the wholesaler.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Pat, thanks for the opportunity. Always thank the wholesaler because you want to keep them because there may be good wholesalers out there and they may bring you deals. So you need to treat them all with respect. So you got to put the kid gloves on. When do you need to close by?
I think we've got 2 weeks.
Ooh, 2 weeks. Maybe I should get a reduction since I have cash and can close that quickly?
Well, that's the reason I called you in the first place, Stephen.
Oh, okay.
If I were going to go with some of the other investors and get a loan,
right.
I would have already called them.
Well, I can close that. What does the contract say? I mean, you have it under contract. I'm assuming you're flipping the contract to me.
Uh-huh.
What is the
double closing, probably.
Oh, so you have to close it first.
I usually do that, yes.
Okay. What's my title fees or what's my cost for closing?
Well, I don't know any lender fees you may have, but you're going to basically have
it's cash.
Pardon?
Well, line of credit.
Okay. You're going to have that. So you're basically going to have revenue stamps and you're half the closing cost and whatever you do for title insurance.
Okay.
I'll take care of everything else.
Oh, okay. So, Mr. Wholesaler, you have a lot of profit built in just to swoop that fee up and handle all those?
Well, it makes it simple for everybody.
Okay. How were we on this price? How did you arrive at $81,000?
Well, my question is, do I wholesale it or I keep it and develop it myself?
Ooh, the push and pull method. Pull it and hold it. Well, Mr. Wholesaler, I'm not too familiar with that area. I know Edmond's hot. Would you consider doing 70?
No, Stephen, I couldn't do 70.
Why not?
It just wouldn't work for me. I'd be better off to do something else.
What type of profit do you want to make?
Well, what type of profit do you want to make? I mean, those are questions that it's hard to answer.
Well, I'm not really making.
I'm looking at making 8 to 10%, maybe 15% on my money sometimes, but most times an average of maybe 10.
Well, can't you just assign the contract to me instead of not putting any money in for the first closing?
I don't think that'll work in this particular case.
Okay. Well, what do you have it under contract for?
I don't know that that's any of your business, Stephen.
Yeah, I try.
Now, if you want to get the wholesale deal yourself, then sure, you can make that money.
I mean, I'm just.
But I'm saying is I'm not
people...
disclosing everything to you or to the person I'm buying it from.
Perfect.
I have to make a margin in the middle here.
You're older, not because you're. Seasoned is a great thing about you, Daddy. No, I try to get it out of you. I'm trying to teach people how to.
That's just sometimes I just have what I call a come to Jesus talk here, Stephen. I mean, you want to play, you got to play. It's my deal.
What'd you think of my technique? What do you want to make on it?
Well, I think your technique is going to be rebuffed. Is what I think your technique is going to.
I'm a
it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
It's a technique that I use. It works sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't.
Absolutely. Sometimes I sell you a house, and sometimes I don't.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if it's a smoking deal in Edmond, all right. Let's reverse the roles.
Okay.
All right. So, Mr. Buyer, hi. My name is Steven, and I am a wholesaler. Are you familiar with what a wholesaler is?
Sure.
All right. My job is I spend a lot of money marketing properties for properties all over the metro. And it came to my attention that you purchase in Midwest City. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I got a smoking deal for you. It's $80,000. It's a $80,000 ARV. That's what the appraised value should come in, depending on what type of improvements that you want to do. I have it under contract for $45,000, and I want to sell it to you for $55,000. Would this be a good opportunity for you?
It depends. I need to know the address and some particulars about the house.
123 Harmon.
No.
He
ain't anything for $80,000 on Harmon.
All right. Well, what'd you think of that technique?
I would want to answer your question. I'm going to need to know where it's at.
Right. Okay. So
because
there's
some parts
first.
of Midwest City that'd be worth that. Other parts of Midwest City would not.
Yeah. I don't buy anything over $50,000 in Midwest City.
Well, there are.
I mean, people buy $125,000 houses there.
You go to the east side of town, or you get up in the addition up there at Reno and Sooner, or whatever. There's some good properties.
Yeah,
but the Harmon's not going to be
so
50,
this was 60. That my technique is like, this is what I have it under contract for. This is what I'm looking to make, $10,000. You're going to make $20,000.
You're a little upfront with me on it. I mean, as far as what you're
that's
making.
one technique. I was just showing techniques.
But I normally don't do the signed contract. I don't know. I don't want the person I'm buying it from to know what I'm making.
Well,
I don't want the investor necessarily that I'm selling it to knowing what I'm making.
Well, there's ways around that. Let me tell you how I do it. Well, the buyer, the person the seller that you got it under contract for, you can freeze that contract right there, and it will close at that number. There's a lot of transactions that I've done where the assignment fee was just a line item on the HUD, so it doesn't even show up on the county as the actual cost of it. On a double closing, it does for sure.
Now on the county, I'm talking about it's a closing when you're
no, like when so you're negotiating with the seller. You don't want the seller to know that you're going to make an extra $10,000.
They might have a cow.
Right. You have to block them. No, you're right. Yeah, get relaxed, Daddy. Yeah. Lean back, Daddy. No. What I'm saying is, yes. How do you prevent that instead of double closing? Because you're paying for double cost of the acquisition. Okay, I'm going to show you how I do it without that extra fee. I lock it up for that number. Now, the only person that actually knows that number is the title company. I have two separate contracts. I have a contract with the seller that says I'm buying the house at $45,000. Then I have a separate contract that states that you're going to pay me an assignment fee of that. I actually have two different wholesale contracts that I use. One that says I'm selling you this house 123 Harmon for $55,000, and that's what you're paying for. And they never see that I have it under contract for $45,000. So I have one contract for $45,000, and then I have another assignment contract for $55,000. The only people that know what I'm making is at the closing. Okay, because on that HUD, when I close it there, we close with that buyer, the end buyer, my wholesale customer, for $55,000, and has a line item on there of $10,000 goes to me as a transaction fee. Okay.
Which is okay because you disclosed to your buyer up front that you were going to make 10.
Well, no, there's some contracts that I have that I don't even tell them that. Now, if they're a smart investor, they should say, because it says in my contract that you are honoring my contract that I signed, my original contract with the seller. You should request to view that. When they see that, they see the $10,000. But most rookie investors don't add. Now they will because they know the real estate. Now they heard the Savvy Radio Show, if it means anything to anybody. But, yeah, if you don't request that contract, you don't know what – you're just going down the road at 55. But, I mean, what are they going to say? They're going to get mad? I'm up front with them anyway. I do this thing called full disclosure.
Well, but now at the same time, when I do a double closing, I'm not paying a lot of extra, just a little bit.
Gap.
I have a pretty good deal with my title company, but, I mean, I might be paying an extra $150 on each side, and I'm
$500.
Less than $500. In the meantime, if I have one person walk because they didn't like me making $10,000 on them.
You've already closed it.
Well, even I don't want their ill will or anything else. I prefer that neither side really knows what I did, and I'd rather pay the $500 for that. But that's my personal opinion, and I'm not the best wholesaler in the world. No. Normally, I tend to buy them and keep them for my own use. The only reason I wholesale them is if when a smoking deal comes my way that's not in an area that I normally work in.
Right. I agree. I mean, I prefer to hold them all. I mean, I flipped a law office one time. I thought about owning it, but then I bought a different building.
Well, it's like, for instance, matter of fact, at that party we were at the other day, we were talking about on one of the other shows, one of the guys, Dan there, and Travis Rocker have both bought properties from me. Both of those were properties that, for one reason or another, I didn't really fit my needs, but I thought they were a smoking deal, so I went ahead and put them under contract and wholesaled them off to somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, there's sometimes that's the one question I love from rookie investors. Why are you selling? I get it. You should ask that question. As a real estate investor, why are they selling? But, the way I think today is totally different than I was 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm dumping property right now. A, we're at the height of the market. Two, I really don't want to deal with any more headaches.
Well, but, back 20 years ago, if you could make $2,000, you thought, my goodness, I'm making
Dude, if I could make $50 a month cash flow, I thought I was rolling.
Yeah, that's right.
$50 doesn't even get the mailman there.
Yeah.
But
we all change over time.
All right. What we're going to wrap this up. What other wisdoms do you have or any techniques to deal with a wholesaler?
I don't buy a lot of property from wholesalers. I would if they contacted me more, but I don't solicit them. And one reason I don't is a lot of the young ones bring me deals that are not deals, and I don't really want to be bothered. And I've always had a buying machine of my own. So I tended to not be too concerned about it. Now, I don't know that was the right way. I see you buy a lot from wholesalers, and I think that's probably a wise move. I see Robert Elder buy a lot from wholesalers. It's been very successful for him. It was always a small part of my business. My business was mostly buy and hold, and I used to be the guy that wanted to negotiate the deal and keep all the profit.
Right.
Greedy.
No, I mean, it's just you're in control. And let me just be clear on this wholesale thing that I do buy a lot of houses. At that one time, I was enjoying remodeling them or repairing them, per se.
You got over that, didn't you?
Yeah, that's just, no, I mean, the deals that come through wholesalers are real dilapidated. I mean, they're not cherries. If they were, they'd be keeping them, or they're getting $20,000 profits on them, and they probably wouldn't be bringing them to me. So I get the lemonades. I get the ones, and I usually tell people, man, hey, call everybody else, then call me. Like, I'm like the last-ditch effort, because I have to, every time I talk to a wholesaler, I'm like, I'm not trying to be a jerk about this, but look, dude, the investor has to make money. I have so much cost. Everybody gets paid, and I get paid last, just like anybody else.
I have a parting thought for you on one. I had a house one time that I bought. I thought I bought it really right. And Robert Elder looked at it, and he said, I'll give you, I think, 17, and I had it bought for 6. And I thought, nah, man, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to make a ton of money. I still got it. Ain't made any money on it all the time I've had it, and wished I didn't own it today.
Anytime.
I should have taken the money in hand and went down the road.
Dude, I just sold the house yesterday on Sunday or this week, because same thing. It got to me for $11,000. It was some wholesaler back then. This is 7 years ago. Got it on contract for $9,000. I don't know, out of a tax sale. I don't know. I think I was doing something. Got it for $11,000. And I put 20 in it in the hood, and I've just regretted it for the last 7 years. I was thankful that I had a tenant in there that would go for 5 years, and I just dumped that thing. I couldn't sell that thing fast enough.
Well, I've still got one of those, and so it happens to all of us. Get greedy, it will wish you had.
Every time I've had that thought, hold on, or it's always backfired on me. I was trying to tell somebody this story the other day about the same type of deal. All right, so that's the Savvy Radio Show. Pat Pointon, great friend, radio host, semi-retired from the Radio Magic Show. Was that the actual
Real
name?
Estate Magic?
Real Estate Magic. It was in Oklahoma City and
11
in Tulsa. Years. We're going to keep that hope alive. We may do the thing in February. If you're interested in that, let me know now. I don't know how scale it's going to go, how big, or we may just keep it down and intimate. Anyway, my name is Stephen VanCauwenbergh. I am the Savvy Landlord. With my friend, we say, go buy assets.
When you buy real estate, you'll be glad you did.
That's right.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.